Orkis said you'd be here. He told me of the Builder's request, an offer that gives me great worry.
Why was this passage blocked? Has someone been here recently?
Do you hear me, Abby? This Builder is a stranger to us. We know not what he intends.
I am the King of Asgard, Tyr. Do not question my desire to protect her.
Calm, old friend. What's needling you?
I have known you, Tyr, longer than any in Asgard. And I trust you as a brother, but my present worries I cannot share.
I understand. The burden of kingship must often be shouldered alone.
I will need your strength in the coming days, to anchor me, to challenge me, to pull me back from the abyss, should I teeter.
And I will, as long as breath fills me. So I must caution you. Step with care in this place. What happens here may ripple through the fabric of the Nine Worlds.
The well is sealed. Someone labors to keep me out.
Perhaps it is meant as a warning.
I will take it as a challenge.
I recall there being more light in here.
These sunstones are meant to guide the light, but the path has been diverted. What if an invader was trying to weaken the well's defenses? Are we meant to intervene?
The integrity of this sacred place must be preserved. But whether we be a bane or a boon remains to be seen.
There are two targets the light must strike, but only one stream.
How do two farms share one source of water?
By splitting the stream.
Alright, so here we are. At this point, I was not sure what the targets were at all. I probably didn't pay attention well enough or whatever. I just didn't really know. The only thing I was like, okay, I need to split the stream to hit two targets. That's what I knew. And so I was like, where are the targets? That was like my main concern when I tried to solve this puzzle. I was like, I don't know exactly what the targets are here. But let me just kind of play around with the lights and see what happens. Maybe I get some sound indication or something where I'm like, okay, I'm a step closer, I'm doing this right. So I'm just kind of like, the first thing is like just point it, you know, at the closest target over there. I mean, not that's the target, but that's another light catcher or whatever you call that. And then move the next one over to, like, I don't know, I'm just kind of looking around. There's something down there. There's definitely another light catcher down there, but that doesn't really, okay, that kind of puts it over there. That doesn't really make sense right now. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know, I don't think that's right. So I'm gonna move it like over here for now. That seems to be just a little bit too obvious to just go like in the row order here. I don't think it's gonna be that easy. I'm aware of that, but you know, when you try to solve a puzzle, it's usually best to just kind of start with the simple stuff. And then usually somehow the correct way will happen. So I actually cut out about 15 minutes here, to be honest, because I was just like, I can't figure it out until I found out there's something else up there. Look at that.
You've done this before, Javi.
Once or twice. The light has found its mark. The stone is lit.
And at that moment, I got the audio indication that I did something right, because he was finally kind of confirming that I did something right, but I didn't have it yet.
We'll appreciate our visit. The curious are not welcome here.
We'll have come and gone before they feel our presence.
So I'm going to this one and I'm like, oh wow, that's totally different. Oh, I can move this thing. Okay. Not so sure where it has to, where does this, at this point I still didn't really know where the light stream had to point at. Did it have to point at the fountain, at the water, or one of those stones? I had no clue. So the one thing that I noticed here was like when I looked up there, I was like, oh, okay, so this big stone up there is actually the splitter. So now we have the splitting done correctly. Now we just have to make sure that those two light sources that come from the split up there eventually hit the target via some kind of configuration. And at this point I'm still not really knowing where the targets are or which ones the targets are. So I'm just kind of like observing this whole situation here, and I'm like, at least I got the split done. That's a step closer, right? So I'm going back up to the very first one where I actually started. And I'm like, this is not right. So let's see if I move this. Oh, then the light source goes away. So I have to leave this there, I guess. Or what happens if I put it there? And it's a little bit hard with the controller to do this. This is probably easier with a mouse and keyboard. You need a very, very soft, fine touch here with the trigger. So I'm just trying out what happens if I hit different light sources. Or what happens if I put this guy to the splitter. Does this split it? Okay, little bit, like I said, it takes such little, okay, now we have two streams again. Well, one pointing there and two getting off it. So that seems to make more sense. Now we have one left and one right that we now can manipulate. So there's still this guy that doesn't have any light go to it. So maybe I can now, since we have we actually have 3 streams coming off, so we can take one off, right? So let's move this guy down there. No, over here, because this one doesn't have one. Very, very fine. Here we go. So now we have a lot of streams coming. But we now have this guy that I can take off. And I'm actually going to point it to this guy maybe. No. And then I see this thing here. This metal thing here right in front of this rock. And I'm like, is this a target? Doesn't really look like it's... Oh. There's an audio indication. Okay, this has to be something. Alright. It doesn't quite look like it's doing anything. But, I mean, it's kind of glowing, so maybe it is right. And then let's see what happens if we move this thing. There's another target I just see now. There's another target right next to me. So maybe I have to move this thing to hit that target. Alright, not quite sure yet how much I can move this. It's a little clumsy. I can't move that target. Okay, so we know that. I can't move the target, but I can move this thing. It's a like I said, a little clumsy, so maybe pulling works better. Okay, so we can move this over here. Oh, and at that point I'm like, I think I got it. And in order to save you some boring minutes here, I actually cut this a little bit because I had to move this piece that I just moved a few times to get it in the just right position, and you probably have to do the same thing. So when you move this thing here, then the light down there hits the target just right.
The well is open to us.
And we finally got it. I was like, wow, I solved this. It only took me like probably half an hour to solve it, but I solved it. So hopefully if you're not patient like I am and you just want to get this done, here's the video. You can just follow my steps, and I hope they are not too complicated.
Take what you need and do it quickly. We should not linger.
They like to spin in silence. Tyr?
It's a puppy! Don't you shoot a puppy! Don't do it!
Careless little pup. You shouldn't be here.
I won't like you anymore if you shoot that puppy.
Are you? There's no wolf alive I can trust.
Javi, stop!
Out of my way, Tyr! I'll suffer no wolves in Urdr.
This is a sacred place. Killing here is forbidden. You know this, Javi.
Wow, first the catch and then that. Damn. Look at how cute it is. How can you kill that? Seriously.
Has your mind fled you? You act as though possessed by the spirit of another.
My mind is my own, Tyr, but you pose a curious thought. Could one mind usurp another's? The Urdr of one in the body of someone else?
Are you drunk on these waters? Take your flask, forget the wolf, and let us be gone, before the Nornir weave us a pair of shackles.
Take this beast. I want it caged. I would have every wolf and dog in Asgard caged if I could.
To ease your troubled mind, I will do as you ask. We need you focused for the coming war.
Thank you, Courage Bringer, for your steady hand.
When one descends this deep, there's no going back up.
Then the only way is further down.
Look at that cute puppy. She lost her mind, that's for sure. Alright, he said going down, so I'm gonna jump into this pool and see what we find down there. And there it is, the exit. And don't forget to go and get this thing before you get up. Fortunately, she has enough lung capacity to do this without any stressing. And if you need to go back to the fountain area, you definitely can go back. You just have to go all the way around again. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up and leave any comments if you have any feedback. And I hope to see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.